This is Scott.
This is Rebecca.
And we're the CEOs of Hardy Party of
5.5. It's not really a company, it just sounds cool.
And if you're looking for a normal family, well, you've certainly come to the wrong place.
So keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle at all times, and let's see where this roller coaster takes us.
Hey, Scott.
Hello, Rebecca.
I'm so excited because we are not podcasting from our home studio / closet. We are podcasting on the road for this one.
That's right.
We're
out and about.
We are out and about.
We're the man and woman on the street.
That's right. We are live on the streets. We're not live at all. But we are...
We are live right now. As we're recording, we are live.
That's true. We actually are live.
Yeah.
So we are in Cape Cod.
Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Which is kind of like bucket list for me. In fact, we made a little bucket list. We made a little bucket list that we can check off as we do things. It has stuff on there like eat a lobster roll, go to a baseball game, all the things that we love and want to do. So we have been checking those off one by one today. But let's give you a little recap. Yesterday, we flew into Boston. No, I'm sorry. We were going to fly into Boston.
Right, yeah.
It was too expensive. And so it was like $560-something a ticket to get to Boston.
Because now, after the pandemic, all the prices have gone up, right?
Prices are starting to rise again.
Yeah.
And on car rentals. So our car rental in Boston was also $104. So to put all that together, I basically found airfare to Newark for...
Newark, New Jersey.
Newark, New Jersey. And a car rental was $55 there a day instead of $104. So we saved about $500, close to $600 by going to Newark. Now,
let me tell you, New York is a dead airport. There was nothing going on there.
It was 7 o'clock and everything was closed.
Everything was shut down.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
So I hope you don't get off that plane hungry because
right.
You're not finding anything.
At 6:30 or 7, it was shut down.
And we basically had to drive through New York City to find food.
Right.
Which was in our path anyways. We were just let's get on the other side of New York City. So that's what we did. We had a 3-hour drive. So Boston would have given us a 1-hour drive. We were actually headed to this little town outside of Boston where one of my clients is staying and she's a travel nurse. So she's there for 3 months.
Worcester?
Worcester.
I don't know. Whatever. I'm not from New England.
Worcester. I think it's
I'm from
Worcester.
Texas.
Anyways,
I say things wrong all the time.
We know. We'll talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah. Exactly.
So anyways, we ended up having a 3-hour drive last night. We did stop at a Shake Shack somewhere along the way, but we drove through.
We found a mall.
We drove through Connecticut in the dark.
It was a mall in Yonkers.
It was in Yonkers?
Yes, it was.
Oh, okay. See, we had to go through New York City to find food, but we finally got to our location, spent a very, very short night.
Yes, it was very short.
In my friend's / client's apartment. She had an extra room. So we stayed there. We got up very early and left to head out to the Cape. So here we are on the way to the Cape. We're hungry. We're thinking we're going to eat out there, but we were kind of looking.
Sleepy.
We're tired. We need coffee. We're just looking along the way. We finally see this place. We kind of like hole in the walls. And when we're looking for places to eat, we usually try to find what would you say, a 4 point...
You were saying 4.4 higher?
Something around there.
And we found a 4.6.
A 4.6. This place was
we're on Google Maps.
Mm-hmm.
If you search along the route, it'll give you food places.
Right.
And I think didn't we type in specifically breakfast? We did, yeah.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, because at first other stuff was coming up like Olive Garden.
Yeah, random restaurants that weren't open yet.
Right. So we found this place called King's Cafe Street? King's Cafe Street restaurant? What was it called?
King's Cafe, I believe.
Just King's Cafe.
Yeah.
It was in Franklin, Massachusetts, right off the road. I mean, we hopped off, and here's the best sign yet. We pulled in, parking lot was packed, and that's definitely what you want to see, a busy parking lot.
Well, you didn't mention in Worcester? Worcester?
Yeah.
I had found a place that had been around since 1946 in downtown. Mm-hmm. And we were going to go there. That sounded cool, but we drove up and it was totally empty.
Totally empty.
For breakfast. So we're like...
keep driving.
If a breakfast place is empty, don't go in.
If any place is empty,
Well, yeah, good point.
don't go in. Just keep driving, which is what we did. We're like, plan B, keep moving.
Fortunately, I take a picture of everywhere we eat. So
King Street, I knew it had street in it.
King Street Cafe.
King
You were
Street
correct.
Cafe. Good job, babe.
And it was really good.
That was in Franklin, Massachusetts, and it was about, I don't know, after we got in the car, I think we still had like 40 minutes left to go.
Yeah.
And we were headed straight to Hyannis. Hyannis is a town,
dangerous word.
A dangerous word because you really want to say Hyannis.
Yes.
And
That can get you in trouble with the locals.
it's just, people don't like that word, Hyannis. And I don't know, it's difficult. So try not to say that when you're around these parts.
Right.
Okay. So we headed straight to JFK Memorial / Veterans Park. It was pretty early in the morning still, but people were coming out of the woodwork because it's 4th of July. So people were getting their barbecue places set up. They're getting their, like, picnic tables and all their...
It was probably 60 degrees maybe, and there was people in their swimsuits swimming in the bay, and
It was really cool. Lots
Texans
of people
don't
everywhere.
swim when it's that chilly.
No, that people like to, in Texas, they like to swim in bathtubs.
Well, on a historical note, there was a cool Korean memorial, which is right next to the JFK Memorial.
Yes.
So that was cool.
Yes,
So that's cool to see if you come out here.
it was very cool.
Yeah.
And then we just kind of looked around in that area, in that Veterans Park area. And from there, we decided, hey, we're just looking into the JFK business. We're going to go find the Kennedy compound. It is around there somewhere. Nothing can be that far away. And so we hopped in the car to head over to the Kennedy compound when we were halted by a Mr. Police Officer who wouldn't let us drive down this street. And we're like, lots of people walking in this direction. What is this police officer stopping us for? We must find out. So he didn't talk to us. He just
Well, he
kind
was
of waved
standing in the
us.
middle of the road.
Yeah, he waved us down a different road.
Yeah.
So we parked along with everybody else.
Of course, we've got to see what's going on.
You've got to look like the locals.
Because we are the man and woman on the street.
That's right. Those are fireworks. Oh, wow.
Yes.
It is the 4th of July,
Yes.
as I mentioned.
Happy 4th of July.
Nobody is being hunted down outside our window.
Right.
Okay. So we basically pull over and we race to where everybody else is racing because we hear live music.
Right.
And we are smack dab in the middle of a little tiny, cutest, coolest parade
Neighborhood parade.
right by the Kennedy compound.
All these old antique cars. There's a woman singing on the flatbed of a truck.
Yes. And then
There's a little Batman on a
oh my
bicycle.
gosh, so cute. These kids on their bikes came first. They were all decked out in all the red, white, and blue you could think of. It was adorable. And then after that, all these old antique cars were coming. That was very cool. And it just seemed like people were just waving at their neighbors. It seemed like everybody knew everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seemed
Well,
very...
it's a super nice neighborhood. I
Wow.
mean, we were on the way to the Kennedy compound, so it's a super nice
It's
neighborhood.
a extremely
Yeah.
nice neighborhood. So we had, I mean, it was just so fun to just kind of be like, oh my gosh, we just ran into a 4th of July
I
parade.
know. How more American can you get?
Cannot get any more American
Right.
than that. But our day does get more American.
Eventually, yes.
It does eventually. So go ahead.
Well, after the parade, we were going to continue walking down to try to find the Kennedy compound, but then we realized I made reservations in Dennis on the shoreline at noon, so we decided we need to get in the car and go to Dennis.
All right. That's about a 25-minute drive or
Yeah.
so, something like that. But you made reservations at this place called
The Lighthouse Inn.
the Lighthouse Inn. How old is it?
It was built in 1855.
That's really old.
Yeah, and it's been used by the Coast Guard until it was bought by a private person.
So
in the 30s, I think.
can you sleep there too?
Oh yeah, it's an inn.
Okay, that's what I
It's
thought.
like $325 a night though.
Yeah,
so
we
that's
did not
why we
sleep
did
there.
not sleep
We
there.
did not sleep there.
Right.
So yeah, we sat outside and
It was unbelievable.
really
It was great.
so delightful.
Yeah.
Had a lobster roll.
Yep.
Had some
that was on
shrimp
our list. That
cocktail.
was on our
we
bucket
checked
list.
that off their bucket list. That
We
was
had clam chowder.
Had clam chowder, and the clam chowder was probably actually my favorite. And we had some shrimp cocktail.
And we walked out to the little jetty to take selfies and
Took some selfies.
experience the ocean.
It was very nice.
Yep. Then we played Connect 4 in the playground, a big giant Connect 4. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I won that.
You feel like you did?
Oh, I know I did.
Feelings can be deceitful.
No, this was true. I beat you at Connect 4.
All right. So truth and feelings are two different things. Is it true or is it a feeling?
I feel like I won because I did.
Okay.
So, and in this instance, they go together.
It is the truth. Scott won.
Right.
We played one game, and
She finally admitted it.
he wouldn't rematch me.
That's right. Sometimes you don't get a second chance, Becca.
Yeah, well, we had a busy list of things. Otherwise, I was going to take you down 2 out of 3. But anyways,
You almost didn't want to leave.
we decided to press on, and we went back to find the Kennedy compound.
We did.
We drove around this extremely fancy
Weren't they like
neighborhood.
$2 million homes?
Oh, at
some of
least,
them? Yeah.
easily. No, one of them was 3. Wasn't that one 3.9?
The one that was just sitting there empty?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
3.9.
Did you
And
Zillow those?
Oh yeah, I Zillow.
Yeah.
Anytime we drive past a house, I've got to Zillow and see like how much it is. These were in this $3.9 million home was.
Like it was abandoned.
It was probably like 1,900 square feet.
Oh, yeah, and it was like abandoned. Like,
But it was literally 3
Yeah.
doors down from the Kennedy compound.
Oh, yeah.
And facing.
Which probably
the-
helps your... That probably helps your price of your house, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it's called a bay. It's not facing the bay. It's called. They call it like the sound.
Yeah,
the
something like
Nantucket
that.
Sound or
Yeah,
something like
I
that.
think so.
Depends on what side you're on, I guess, around here.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we did walk around.
Well, first we saw all these cars parking, and we thought, oh, it's more tourists. But really, it was someone at a house having a party.
Having a party.
So we just parked behind them like we were at the party.
I mean, honestly, we should have just walked in and been like,
What's up?
Joey?
Yeah.
Like, surely just pick a
There's
name.
got to be one Joey.
There's got to be a Joey.
In this area, in Massachusetts,
definitely
New
a
Jersey,
Joey.
there's a Joey somewhere.
Exactly. That's what I would think, too.
Yeah.
So,
So we walk up to the street that had where the Kennedy compound is. Not as much. I mean, like no security.
Mm-hmm. No
so,
security.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
yeah, we could have
But it was
literally
saying-
could have walked in and up to the front door.
It was saying private drive, do not enter. So
Right.
we just kind of walked back and forth creepily, and then
Well, we walked around, too, to the pier, to that little pier.
but then we got back in the car to go to the pier.
Oh, yes, we drove around there. And
So that's when I think I
Scott-
saw Chris Pratt in the
Scott's
backyard.
on the airplane here. Watch this movie. What's it called?
It's called Tomorrow War on
War?
Amazon. War? I
Okay,
have trouble
Tomorrow-
saying that word.
Tomorrow War.
Word. I have trouble saying anything with the W and R in it, apparently.
Listen, all day long you've been hard of hearing. I said I feel
really
like
have.
we've been playing Mad Libs all day.
Maybe it's from the flight. I don't know.
don't know.
But it's called Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt. It's on Amazon. It's free. If you have Amazon Prime, it's free. So I just love this movie.
I mean, he's
There's-
eat up with it.
Well, there's a little bit of language, like they're in the midst of a war, so there's
Mm-hmm.
some language with soldiers. But I just thought it was so fun. It made me laugh. It made me cry.
Yeah.
It was intense action. It felt like an old '90s sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
I really liked it.
Okay, reel it in, babe.
Yeah, sorry.
Listen, I need you to tell me why you would think you would see Chris Pratt at a Kennedy compound.
Well, he's married to Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter now.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe a year or two. They've been married maybe 2 years. Arnold Schwarzenegger used to be married to a Kennedy, Pam Shriver Kennedy. Mm-hmm. So
That means
that is
what's her name? Do you know?
Catherine.
Catherine.
Her name is like Catherine Kennedy Schwarzenegger Pratt now.
Wow.
So she's in the Kennedy family. So I'm sure Chris has been out here. Bound
Okay.
to.
So yeah, when we pulled around and parked and
Yeah.
walked out on this little,
This pier that we may or may not should have been on, it said private pier.
but it was wide open.
Yeah, and nobody stopped us.
We
so
were
went.
waiting for somebody
Yeah.
to stop us, but they didn't.
And really, we were acting like we were walking the pier, but I was just trying to get a better look at the Kennedy compound.
yeah, I was pulling out keys, so they thought we had a boat out there.
Oh, yeah, is that right?
I was waving keys.
Yeah.
Just kidding, I wasn't. Okay, so, we from there you could kind of see the backyard of this Kennedy
There's
compound.
people hanging
And
out
there were
back
people
there.
back there.
They
which-
looked younger than Chris Pratt and Catherine then,
but who knows? Probably so. We'll just say we saw
yeah,
them.
yeah.
Okay, so after we finished at the Kennedy compound, which was really cool, and just
Yeah.
kind of in that area. I mean,
The whole day, it's just
you
fun
could
to
just
drive through.
drive through these areas. The hydrangeas,
Taste the joint.
they're so pretty. Anyways, we had seen a coffee shop on the way in called Mary Lou's Coffee Shop. It's bright pink, and my mom's name
Can't
is
miss it.
Mary Lou. So I said, we got to go back to Mary Lou's Coffee Shop and take a picture. But not only did we take a picture, they had Christmas tree ornaments that said Mary Lou's Coffee Shop
With
on
little
them.
cups.
and they sold their coffee. And it was like 2 bags of coffee for $14.99, which is really cheap.
Yeah.
I should have got a lot more. They have a website. It's called MaryLou's.com. Isn't that the cutest?
Your mom doesn't own that site, apparently?
My mom does not own that site, but I called my mom and she was like, "Give me a bag of coffee." And I got her a Christmas tree ornament too. So that'll be very exciting when they get to have that. I'm super excited about that. So I thought it was excellent coffee. You weren't necessarily
It was okay.
loving it.
It was a very cute place. It was a cool place.
A cute place. They didn't have any like hot frou-frou coffee. I think their espresso machine.
I'm a
was
hot
broken.
frou-frou coffee kind of guy.
You definitely are, and I just like my coffee.
They had all these ices and cold stuff.
They had a bunch of cold coffees.
I'm not a cold coffee guy.
Their hot coffees were lacking. Well, they had a bunch of flavored coffees, like hazelnut and mocha whatever and all that. Like, actually just like black coffee that's flavored. But you couldn't get like a cafe mocha.
Like a steamed kind of milk thing, yeah.
Nothing frothy, anything like that.
Yep.
But anyways, when we came out of there, and actually when we pulled up there, it had started to rain for a little bit. And
which was kind of a downer because we were supposed to go to the Cape Cod Baseball League game.
Yeah, tonight.
Yeah.
But it wasn't supposed to last long, and we ran into the grocery store. Scott grabbed us some ponchos and a
tiny little umbrella, apparently.
Little umbrella that only half a person could fit under.
Right.
And then we went to downtown, or what's it called? Main Street. Hyannis.
Yes.
Hyannis.
Very good.
Main Street Hyannis, where there's tons of cute shops, tons of cute, like homemade ice cream, and all these cute coastal beachy shops.
Souvenirs, sweatshirts, T-shirts.
All of those things. They had cute restaurants and such like that. So we ended up stopping for dinner at a place called Añejos, and it is authentic Mexican food. So it was, which is kind of funny. We were totally not on the radar to have Mexican food. We were going in a different direction, but since it was kind of rainy, also
it was so cute. When we passed by it, I just noticed how nice it looked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, let's check this out.
Let's check it out.
Yeah.
And authentic Mexican food, I mean, they're on a coast also. So if you want seafood, authentic Mexican food typically will have, some seafood in it, all different kinds of seafood, whereas our Tex-Mex that we're used to in Texas doesn't have, besides bacon wrapped shrimp stuffed with the jalapeno, there's not a lot of like actual seafood involved. And plus down here you're going to get fresh, right out of the water seafood. So we decided to give it a go, and typical Tex-Mex is refried beans and all the cheeses and stuff, and authentic Mexican food doesn't quite have that. They have more like black beans and little, just different. It's just different. So anyways, it was like the best food that you thought you'd have.
It was the best fried shrimp I ever had. I got a fried shrimp tostada.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some aioli on it, and it was just incredible.
So good.
And we asked to sit outside, and it was this giant tree.
You couldn't see this from the walkway either.
Right. Like down the walkway from where the hostess was, there's this giant tree, and people are sitting up under it.
Now, there was probably 20 tables under this tree.
Oh, yeah. It was incredible.
It was huge. Huge. And so pretty. So we sat under this tree, and I mean, to me, it was a little chilly. Like,
it felt great.
They had
to me.
heaters on. Like, it was probably in the 60s most of the day today, and they had the heaters on out there. And it's unseasonally cool for them here, just like it is for us in Texas.
Yeah.
So that was really, really.
You had fundito?
I had fundito, which is cheese, but it's different than like.
You had some shrimp in there, and
yeah.
It was all very good.
It was really good. I also had lobster bisque there, which is okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite. Okay, so then the Cape Cod League baseball was still on. It didn't get rained out. It stopped raining.
It didn't rain enough to rain it out.
And tons of people were heading in that direction, and we...
Well, it was kind of cool when we were walking. We kind of parked near our restaurant, and then we just walked to the stadium. Because we didn't really know where to park near the stadium.
So, I mean, it was probably like 4 blocks.
Yeah, it was like 8-minute walk.
Yeah.
But on the way, as the evening was starting, you had you had live music everywhere. Mm-hmm. There was a band on that side of the street. There was a woman singing on this side of the street. Mm-hmm. They were doing a dance off on the corner.
The Macarena.
Yeah, there was all kinds of cool stuff going on downtown.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Even though it had like just stopped raining, there was just still a lot of life in the town.
Yeah.
So that was cool. Mm-hmm. So we walked to the game. This is minor league baseball, but these, we have minor leaguers living with us back in Texas right now. Our minor leaguers are more in their, close to their, between 25 and 30.
Yeah.
Most of them have a college degree or have finished some sort of schooling. But here, these kids are all like, this is their summer league from college.
Yeah.
So most players that got up to bat would be like, yay, from Central Florida, blah, blah,
Texas Tech, Florida State.
They're
from everywhere.
They're from
Every college you can think
They're
of.
from everywhere.
Yeah.
And there was probably like 500 people that came out.
Yeah, it was pretty packed.
It was pretty packed. And I wondered if it was because of it being the 4th of July or if it was something that's always like that. But the locals assured us that, yes, this in fact is pretty typical that this many people come out to watch Cape Cod baseball.
Well, it's totally free. You can just walk up, find a seat.
They ask for a suggested donation.
They do, and we did donate that.
We did donate, but yeah, it is pretty. Kids come out with their gloves, pretty hometowny, playing catch, and so that was really fun. I don't really even know the guys. This league is like on the Cape. There's like 8 teams or something.
Well, there's 10.
Okay, 10 teams. And the Cape is just not very long in comparison to a lot of things. It's not very...
Well, especially in Texas.
Yeah, it's pretty small. So, the teams don't have to travel far. They're all kind of like right in this general area.
Yeah.
So you're playing like your neighbors all the time. So anyways, tonight was the Hyannis Hawks versus the Yarmouth
Dennis. I don't know their nicknames.
I think they were
Red
the Sox.
Sox.
Yeah, I think they were the Red Sox. And the Red Sox won tonight. So
like 7-1.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was a fun time to watch. There's a section
great.
set aside for scouts, and so that was really cool.
Right behind home plate, you had a bunch of scouts.
Yeah.
Mainly scouting pitchers, it looked like, but I'm sure they were doing some
other stuff too.
Yeah, some other position players.
So here's the crazy thing. We're sitting there, and, I like to talk to people. I'll meet anybody anywhere, and just ask the people next to us if they thought, one of them had mentioned fireworks, and I said...
Because around dusk, there were supposed to be fireworks in the harbor.
Right.
Yeah.
And
we
said,
weren't sure where that was going to be on the skyline.
Right. I said, do you think that we'll be able to see the fireworks from like where we are? And he said, oh yeah, they should just be right here. And I said, thank you. I said, we're not from around here, so we don't know like where the best place to see this is. And he said, oh, where are you from? So we told him Texas. Well, then his wife chimes in. We start talking, and the weirdest thing ever. So Jake, our middle son, he plays football for Southern Nazarene, has a girlfriend named Kate. Kate goes to Oklahoma Christian University in Oklahoma City.
In Edmond,
Oklahoma.
A little north of Oklahoma City.
Yes. So we're talking to this couple, and all of a sudden we tell them we're in Texas, and they said where, and they said we're coming to Oklahoma for a volleyball tournament on what day?
It's Labor Day.
On Labor Day, and after we're done with the volleyball tournament, we want to go to Dallas to see. We've never been there.
So what can we do in Dallas?
So what can we do in Dallas? So, anyways, Dallas is the side note. The actual story here is that the volleyball tournament, their daughter will be playing against Kate,
Jake's girlfriend,
which
in
is
Edmond.
So weird.
Yeah.
So, of course, definitely have already marked my books off for going
to meet our new friends.
That we just meet. Our friends from the Cape.
That's right, yeah.
Our friends from the Cape. Do people say that?
They do now.
So it was just the craziest thing.
Yeah.
And so we just chatted up a storm. They were a wealth of knowledge, especially grateful to meet them like on the first day we were here because we have a couple more days, and they were like, you're doing everything right. Make sure you see these things. Like they added some things to...
They've got a couple things we're going to look at to see if we have time to do it. They
were just so helpful. It was so fantastic. And we told them we would definitely show them around, Dallas, and take them to... what they want to go to? A Southern Baptist church.
Oh, yeah. They're like, that'd be so cool to go to a Southern Baptist church.
Yeah, it was.
We're like, we can hook you up.
we got you there.
Yeah. Well, what's cool about his family is, didn't you say his family came...
His ancestors.
Yes, on the Mayflower.
On the Mayflower.
Yeah, so
like he grew up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have not moved from that area.
She has. She
Well, yeah, his family.
But his family has not.
That's super cool.
So that, I mean, we were playing. They were playing baseball at the high school. His dad played football at. So.
Yeah.
So that was just so fantastic. And of course, we became Facebook friends right away because if we have any Cape questions, we got, we know who to go to. And if they have any Texas questions or even Oklahoma City questions, they know who to go to. So we were fast friends. It was just a very sweet meeting.
And then we watched the fireworks over the tree line with them.
We watched, yes, with our new friends. We watched the fireworks.
Yep.
We should have put made new friends on our bucket list.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
And fireworks.
Why didn't we put fireworks?
Why didn't we put and parade?
Well, yeah, and parade.
We need a new list.
We need a second list, I think. We need an addendum.
All right.
Yeah.
So we finally finished up with fireworks and made our way back to the car. So here's something interesting we're doing on this trip. I'm totally on board with it. I'm not sure how Scott feels about it.
It's not my favorite, but I'm learning to live with this.
So it's just expensive to get hotels, and Airbnbs can be expensive. And to be honest, we thought we'd stay up with our friend in the Worcestershire, a whole lot more. But it's it's an hour and a half, 2 hour drive to get there.
Depending on which town we're going to.
So we decided, let's just grab another Airbnb out here on the Cape. And fortunately, we have one already tomorrow night, but the ones on either end that we ended up wanting to book they weren't available at the same place. So we have to Airbnb hop. Well, we're not just doing regular Airbnbs.
Is that a new hashtag, Airbnb hop?
Sure.
Okay.
We are doing private rooms in homes.
Yep.
So it is like, I don't know, the woman that lives in this house, I don't know where she is. She's around here somewhere. And we just keep the door locked and...
No, I wanted to lock the door and you didn't lock it. So... Not that totally she's not fine. A wonderful lady. Haven't met her. I'm sure she's great.
I will leave all our reviews for our Airbnbs after this trip is over.
It's just a little odd to be in someone's... I mean, we just walked through the house. She's already in bed.
Yep.
Walked to our room, and you're just in someone's house.
Yep.
It's not like in a normal Airbnb, you're taking over the whole house,
right,
and there's nobody here. But we're just hanging out in another bedroom, and she's
somewhere else.
I don't know.
It's weird.
It's okay.
I just think it's adventurous.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it 3 times. Not one, not two, but 3 times.
Yes. So actually, it's a great way to break and enter to other people's houses.
That's right.
You pay them so you can come break in.
Oh my gosh.
We're not going to steal anything though.
We're going to get arrested.
She's great though. We have snacks. We have microwave, refrigerator.
She's been more thorough with all the details.
We have a toaster oven.
Yeah, we're good.
You couldn't have any of this.
We could probably survive in this room for a solid couple of months.
Yeah. You can't have any of this stuff in a dorm room. This is all dangerous in a dorm room.
Fire hazards everywhere.
Right. Yeah.
So we look forward to a solid night of rest in this home that we share with other people.
Who are somewhere in the house that we haven't met.
Somewhere in the house.
This is the start of a horror movie.
So if we don't make it out, this is our last broadcast.
Should we give the address? Oh, gosh.
No, we fully intend to make it out.
No, we'll
tomorrow.
be fine. It's great.
And tomorrow we have a whole nother list of activities to do and a whole full day of fun things to do, especially thanks to our new friends from the baseball field. We have added to our list. And tomorrow we will fill you in on how day 2 went. Well, welcome to day 2. We spent the day in Cape Cod still. We're going to Nantucket tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. But today, we spent the day really traveling the entire length of Cape Cod. We started in Sandwich, a town called Sandwich. Yes, like peanut butter and jelly sandwich. At a cafe called Marshland, where I had some fantastic oatmeal with strawberries and nuts on it, and Scott had more food that he didn't care to eat.
I wasn't very hungry this morning.
Yeah, but you
But
ordered a pretty big breakfast.
I
To not be
know.
hungry.
I felt the pressure of being on vacation, and I just ordered way too much.
You were eyeballing my oatmeal the whole
I
time.
was. When I got there, my intention was to buy oatmeal, but for some reason I did not. I bought eggs,
You overdid it.
bacon, and home fries, and I didn't eat a whole lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My oatmeal was fantastic, and then I proceeded to have about 6 cups of mediocre coffee, and that really came back to bite me later when we were on like a big long hike to get to a beach that we'll get to.
Oh yeah.
Right. So, what is Old Kings Highway? That's what we were traveling down today. Old
What-
Kings Highway.
It's 6A, Highway 6A in Cape Cod.
Yeah.
It is the oldest highway in Cape Cod. It was the first one built in 1953. It was built along what used to be called Old Kings Highway,
Okay.
which is a highway trail that existed before the American Revolution.
That's incredible.
I know, so it's like one of the oldest roads in America.
In the country.
Yeah, like in the 1650s probably.
1650s.
Yeah, when they were using this road to come through the Cape Cod area.
That's incredible.
I know, pretty wild.
Well, this little road is, I mean, the sweetest thing. I think you thought we were going to be driving along like the coast.
I really imagined being on the coast of the ocean, and I'm glad it wasn't, because it was very quaint. It was very...
We were in and out of these towns.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't
Just
believe.
one town after the other.
You just wouldn't
It
believe
all looked
the
like a movie
cuteness.
set.
Yes. You wouldn't believe the cuteness and some of them weren't cute. Some were just like beautiful
Oh, yeah.
homes with the amazing landscaping, hydrangeas forever. Like, it's just beautiful. And you're just in and out of like one town to the next town to the
And it
next
just
town.
feels like they're facades built in Hollywood,
Yeah.
and there's nothing behind it. Like,
How is this real life?
I don't know.
I still don't know who
How do
gets
they
live
afford to
here.
do all this?
I don't know. Anyways, as we're just driving along, out of the blue pops a windmill, a giant windmill,
Yes.
off to the left. And so we had to make a U. We came back to the windmill. It was at a place called Drummer Boy Park.
Yes.
And there was
Which I don't know what that means.
I don't either, but it was a big open grassy area. There was a pavilion. There was a playground for kids.
There's a place to walk your dogs and let them do what they need to
There was
do.
a trail down to a marsh. You couldn't go all the way down to the ocean, but
Yeah.
we didn't go down the trail. But we did go to look in the windmill. Had next to it a
I had a
well,
blacksmith, and then another house was
and
next
another
to it.
house.
These were built, the windmill was built in like 1795, and the blacksmith shop, I think, was mid 1860s.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Would-
Well, what was kind of funny is the whole windmill had like a telephone pole in the back all the way to the ground.
holding it up.
Yes, with like an old wagon wheel was actually stabilizing the windmill.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. The arms of the windmill, they had Christmas lights on it still.
Oh, yeah.
So I bet it was pretty cute.
I wonder if they light it up every night. They
I
might.
bet. Can you imagine driving down that road at Christmas time?
With all the lights.
With
and
all the
stuff.
lights. I mean, it would
that
be-
sounds like another bucket list we need to do.
We're gonna have to do that.
Yeah.
So then we continued to drive on. One of the signs we saw on the way, I mean, that was kind of our plan today, was really no plan. Drive in
Which is not like you
Not like
or
us.
any trip we've taken.
ever. But it was nice to be able to say, oh, look at that sign. Let's follow that road to see where it goes.
Right.
And that's what we did. We saw a sign for Nauset Lighthouse
Yep.
Beach. Something.
Nauset Light Beach is what the
Yeah.
sign said, but
Yeah.
there's a lighthouse
It's a
there.
lighthouse.
Yep.
And we decided to take this road. So down we go. We get all the way to the actual lighthouse, the parking lot, which is full. The police officer says, you can't even get out of the car here. Turn around.
Right.
And we had to travel way far back down the road.
Wait, it wasn't a police officer. It was a ranger, so he's even more dangerous.
Okay.
Because he can take you out. I'm kidding. That's a joke.
Can he?
No.
Okay. A more dangerous ranger told us to turn
Yes.
back. We
Like
went.
from Yogi Bear and... What was the little guy's name? Yogi Bear and...
I don't remember.
I've gone blank. Boo Boo.
Boo
Hey,
Boo.
Boo Boo.
Yes. Yeah, just like that.
It was the ranger from that show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we ended up going back all the way back to like this high school parking lot, which was
Was it probably a mile and a half or two?
It was more than a mile.
Yeah. It was like 8 miles. No, it was probably about a mile and a half.
Probably more like 12.
Yeah.
So we ended up parking in this parking lot, and it was a beautiful day today, but even in the sun, I mean, it got a little warm.
Yeah.
So we walked along this path. We came upon these 3 lighthouses called the Three Sisters or the Sisters.
The Three
What were the
Sisters.
sisters about?
Well, they're smaller lighthouses that used to be with the big lighthouse, but they were getting too unstable on the coast, so they brought them like away from the coast, probably about a mile, I guess, and had set them up in this little park so people could see them.
So are any lighthouses still in use?
I know that some are burning. I don't know that we really use them anymore because with GPS and all that, I don't know that they're really
Yeah.
needed.
Okay. Because they can just up and move a lighthouse and it doesn't like mess with every person trying to like.
Well, because we saw a couple today that were still running and lit, but they're not really.
They're not used.
Yeah, they're not really used in
I thought those
navigation.
were cool. I thought the light going around on the top was like super cool.
Yeah.
So we walk a mile and a half or 12, whatever you want to say. Continue on to the beach area, which was so cool. There were sea lions in the water.
They were
playing.
flopping around.
Oh my gosh, it was so cute. And that helped us check off one more thing off our bucket list, which was sea life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got to check that
But
off. And we got to check off Lighthouse.
What did you see before we got to the beach?
Oh.
Because we're at the beach and then you have to go down this long, like,
Listen, there
Yeah.
are signs, I saw more than one of them,
oh yeah,
that say great whites
yeah.
are in the water.
Beware.
Beware.
They think you're seals.
And then we saw these seals, and down to the left from where the seals were,
There's a dude surfing.
There were 2 guys surfing.
Yeah, what are y'all doing?
In black wetsuits. Can you look any more appetizing? I don't think so. I mean, just
Shark Week. Talk about Shark Week.
right.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we did not get in the water, but we did take some cool pictures and videos of these sea lions. They were so pretty. So then we had time to eat lunch. I mean, we had to grab a bite because
At this point, we finally made it up to the lighthouse.
Right. Before we left there, we actually went and looked at the lighthouse. Which, is there anything important about the lighthouse?
Well, you should ask me. Well, you just did. This. I had that line ready in my head, and you already had to ask me. This lighthouse is actually pretty famous because you know the Cape Cod kettle bags
Oh, that's
that the potato chips are in?
Yes.
This is the lighthouse
on
that was.
the bag.
Yeah, pretty cool, right?
Isn't that so neat?
Yep.
I think that's really cool.
That's why it had been on my radar the whole time when I knew we were going on this trip. I always wanted to see this lighthouse.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
There's a Cape Cod kettle factory, like it's just closed right now, or
I
it's
know.
like not.
Well,
it's closed
they're
to
open,
tours.
but the tours closed
Yeah, the tours
because
aren't
they're doing so much production because they're so behind after the pandemic
Right.
that they really don't have time or
for
space to do
extras.
it. Yeah.
So then we ran into this little place after we left the lighthouse. Well, we actually had that 12-mile walk back.
Yeah.
And then we ran into this little place called the Brick House Restaurant.
Yep.
And it was okay. I mean, the food was
It was
good.
all right.
The ambiance wasn't that great, but the food was okay.
This was really to hold us over to make it to dinner. We just needed something in our bellies to get us to dinner.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to. At first we thought we were going to eat in Crazy Town, which
Oh.
ended up being Crazy Town.
Right. We're getting there.
Yeah, but we decided we better eat some lunch now so it's not so close to dinner. So
Aren't we smart? Because we'd be starving still.
yeah, so it was okay.
Yeah, it was all right.
It was like
My salad was really good.
yeah, it was just one of those meals that you had to eat.
Just get through.
Yeah,
So we got in the car. Where we were headed was to Provincetown. So Provincetown is
the very tip.
very tip
Yes.
of the Cape. In fact, there's a beach. There's a park there called like Pilgrim's First.
Oh, it's the Pilgrim's First Landing.
Yeah, First Landing. Which we couldn't stop at any of these things. Basically, we decided we were going to get ice cream. So I hopped out.
You Googled a cool
Yes.
ice cream place. So we're like, oh, let's go to this ice cream place.
Right, and I hopped out at the corner, and I mean, there were people everywhere.
It was crazy.
We haven't seen, and to be fair, this is July 5th, which means and it's Monday. So a lot of people had this as a holiday, I'm assuming, because the 4th was on a Sunday. So a lot of people had a 3-day weekend, and this was a day off for them. Maybe tomorrow it'll be a little calmer. But anyways, you were driving around the block.
I was just circling the block because there was nowhere to park. Anywhere you wanted to park was $30.
$30.
But then when I was driving around waiting for you to get out of the ice cream shop, I saw around the courthouse there. It was free, but of course all those spots were taken. That was the only free parking I could see.
Yeah.
And there were so many people. There was people lining the streets, so I was just creeping along to make it around the square to get back around to you. I guess I ran around like 3 times.
People were just walking down the middle of the road.
It was just a mass of humanity.
It was a lot of people.
Yes.
So we decided this was not the town for us.
No.
Even though I really was looking forward to getting there all day long.
This was like your highlight of the day.
I wanted to get to the
It was going to be.
Oh, it was nuts. So we ended up literally driving around the town, hopping in and out, getting ice cream. I went into the public restroom, set our ice cream on a table.
Oh, I didn't know all that.
I know, I didn't tell you. And then went to the bathroom, came back out, grabbed the ice cream.
It was still there.
Yeah.
Had it been, eaten?
I don't know.
Okay.
We're still here, so it was fine.
Okay.
So
the ice cream was great, by the way.
It was homemade.
Once we got out of the town, I pulled over to the side of the road next to the beach, and we ate our ice cream in the car.
We ate our ice cream.
Yeah.
So since we didn't spend as much time in Provincetown as we had thought, we headed back up, and we were going to go ahead and check in our Airbnb at what we thought was pronounced Chatham, but it's called Chatham. Chatham. It has an H.
It's just Texans saying things wrong.
But
I apologize.
The H is apparently silent.
I apologize for Texas.
So this was our second of our Airbnb where we were going to stay in a private
room in a house.
In a house.
Yes.
And here's the teaser. If you want to hear all about the check-in process.
The check-in process to the Bates Motel.
And if you want to know more about that, you need to listen to and watch our YouTube video called Hey Babe, where are we at? Where are we at?
Yep.
And there's several of them. So the last one posted will probably be this one.
Yeah, we'll be posting this when we get back in town.
You need to watch it. So you can get all the details.
The gory details.
This Airbnb that we're in. And we're in this room. So we're going to tease that. So then we basically laid down on this bed for like 1 minute, and then we were like, gotta go. So we hopped up and headed to... Oh, we went out to the other lighthouse.
Yeah, the Chatham. We realize now that it's Chatham Lighthouse, which is it's a Coast Guard station. It's still a Coast Guard station.
Wait, it's still a working one?
Yeah, there's Coast Guard people in there.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's still working.
Even though I was standing right there in front of it with you, I did not know this.
Right. And this lighthouse was commissioned by Thomas Jefferson.
That's crazy.
So it was built in like 1806 to 1808, and it became functional in 1808. So it's been going that long. There was actually, I believe, 3 of them at one time, because with the technology they had then, they needed 3 to really be able to project the lights and for all the ships to be able to see it. Well, over the years, 2 of those ended up just falling. As the beach eroded, 2 of those fell. So this is the last one standing. And what's also cool about this station is in 1952, I don't know if everyone's seen the movie Finest Hour with Chris Pine, where he's this heroic guy that saves a bunch of people in the ocean in a shipwreck. Well, this is where that story happened in real life. So that movie, based on a true story, is where this happened.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So it's pretty wild. So
we just walk up to these like boards, when you go to like anything, there was like a memorial or something like that, and it's just like paragraphs. And I really want bullet points and cliff notes. And that's what Scott gives me. After he reads it, I stand there and look around while he reads this entire board.
You have people that read that for you.
I have people that read that for me. I'm not going to understand it anyways, and I'm certainly not going to be able to regurgitate it like you just did 10 hours later.
Yeah.
I don't understand anyways. It just, that stuff just doesn't stick in my brain. So I'm thankful that you like to read history things.
Well, and from there, we walked across the street to the beach, and this was the serene, awesome, romantic beach I was imagining Provincetown to be.
There was a big sailboat.
There were sailboats. The wind was blowing lightly.
We thought
there was a few people there, but not many.
We thought we were going to grab our ice cream and stroll on the beach.
Oh, yeah.
No, we grabbed our ice cream, pulled over in the car, ate it, and kept driving.
and got out of there.
Got out of there.
But this was the beach I had been hoping for.
Yes, it was
So we
nice.
hung out there for a little bit.
For a few minutes,
Before our game.
Then we headed to our last and final Cape Cod League game, which was at, I thought, a much nicer stadium with actual bathrooms and not porta potties.
Right.
So I thought that was fun. The teams did really well that night. This was the night that one of the players that's in our house, his brother is one of the coaches for, and we saw him.
He's assistant coach.
We didn't speak. We didn't get to speak with him.
Well, we got there right when the game started. We didn't. With everything that was going on, that's as early as we could get there. And we didn't really have a chance to talk to him. And he was I think he was counting pitches, charting pitches during the game.
So we didn't want to bother him.
So he was very intense. So we just kind of, I think you took a picture of him.
Yeah.
That you're going to send you're going to send to Tyler to let him know we did see him.
Right.
But he was just so engrossed in the game, we didn't want to bother him.
Yeah.
And actually, being the assistant coach, he's probably like trying to impress some people. So we really didn't want to. We didn't want to infringe there.
Yeah.
And we were getting so hungry, we had to leave the game a little early. I think we left in the 7th inning.
Maybe. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the 7th.
And we have a super early morning, so.
Tomorrow, we have a very early morning.
Yep.
And so we left there to go get some food, and we ate at this place called Brack's Landing.
Brack's Landing.
Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
It was really good.
Oh.
We ate there. Well, it was on the list to eat at, but also it just so happened to be one of the few places that was open past like 9 o'clock.
I know.
Everything was closing. But we had this appetizer called Quahog.
Quahog.
But it's not spelled like that at all.
It's spelled with a Q-U-O.
Q-U-O something.
It's all messed up.
Yeah, but it's basically this stuffed seafood, this seafood stuffing, and they stuffed it inside a clam.
Which I think I tried clam once, and it was just not for me.
Yeah, but you've tried, I think
uncooked.
you've had raw clam or oysters.
Yeah.
No, this is cooked, so it's totally different.
It was
Even
so
when
good.
you have it in clam chowder, it's different.
Yeah.
So it was so good.
Oh, man.
And then the fish and chips, this was what I had, and I mean it's just fresh, the freshest cod you've ever had. And then Scott had the stuffed mushrooms, stuffed
mushrooms.
Stuffed. I don't know why I'm just looking at the picture. Stuffed shrimp, which the stuffing was the same stuffing.
Oh yeah.
It was the seafood stuffing that was delicious, and of course,
and the shrimp
a
was
side
amazing.
of melted butter on the side.
Oh yeah.
How can you go wrong with melted butter? It was so good.
That is the truth. We've had some where we didn't have much luck with. What's the name of that town? Crazy Town?
Mm-hmm. Provincetown.
Provincetown. Didn't have much luck there, but we have had a lot of luck with our dinners.
Oh, yeah. Great dinners.
We've done great with dinners.
Yeah. Then we finally made our way back to our Airbnb. And again, you want to hear how that went? You should definitely watch our Babe Where You At. That will be posted very soon. And tomorrow, we will go to Nantucket. And we look forward to sharing day 3 of Cape Cod with you.
Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning.
Somehow we made it through the night.
Another night we made it through.
We did, and here we are. We are not only a man and woman on the street, we are a man and woman in a car on the street.
Literally in a car, parked in a parking lot.
Yes, somewhere in Connecticut.
For all of our fans.
Yes.
All 3 of them.
We're in Connecticut somewhere, right? Did we just go through New Haven, I think?
Yes.
Okay.
It was really pretty, actually.
New Haven's been the nicest city we've been through today.
Yes. There have been some other ones that were not
Rhode
so
Island
nice.
was a little rough.
Listen, we were in Providence during rush hour, and it felt like we were in, like, I don't know, on some road that doesn't, like, no traffic. Like, I went 75 the whole way through. the
and
middle of
and
the
the speed
town.
limit was 60, so
The middle
it
of the
was
town. I
nice.
think the speed limit was 55. But a cop flew past me, so I don't know.
Okay,
So
we're going to talk about day 3 in Cape Cod.
day 3. Yesterday we got up and we made it out of that house alive. Again, if you don't know what we're talking about, you must watch our Babe Where You At video. So we left there and we had to get over to the what's it called, babe? Steamboat Authority?
Steamboat Authority, yes.
Yeah. And
Or Steamship Authority.
Steamship Authority. It's the state-run,
They have authority over the ships.
ferry service to Nantucket. We hopped out the ferry. We parked our car. We left our car on Hyannis, and then we got on the ferry. It was
About an hour ride.
a lovely hour ride. I took a little nap. Scott posted some pictures, and we hop off at Nantucket. And we look at some things like bike rentals and stuff like that, but ultimately we decide the better move here is, and the town is like beautiful right there, but it is like the busy little hub of Nantucket. We really wanted to get to the very furthest east right corner, right?
Right.
Like southeast corner.
Yeah.
When I say right, I meant south. Okay, so I'm just looking at a map in my brain. Okay. And there's a town there called Sconset. And they say a lot of the people don't make it all the way over there because it's a little bit of a jog. You've got to either ride a bike for like 45 minutes or you can catch a Uber or a Lyft, which those don't come around very often.
I feel like you can get them in Nantucket proper, but it's harder to get them once you're out.
See, we tried to get one later and we couldn't get one.
Well, yeah, it's true. It's kind of hit or miss on the
It
Uber
is
there.
hit or miss on the Ubers, now we know. There is public transportation, which
Called the Wave.
called the Wave, and I really needed.
They're saying it's buses, but it's really like people movers.
They're kind of shuttles, yeah. Also, wish I would have like studied a map before we went. So that because it just got a little confusing, and also they don't run very often, so you kind of got to time your things.
It's like
perfectly.
every 30 minutes. It's really
right. So
it's not efficient in my book.
yeah. Okay, so basically we did catch a lift over to Sconset because one of the things that we want to do there, we had breakfast first of all at a place called Claudette's, and I really wanted to have lunch there, but we ended up not being around there for lunch. Actually, we just chose not to eat there because we ate breakfast there.
Yeah.
Which was just yummy coffee and breakfast sandwiches. This little town of Sconset, I mean, it's got a little post office.
It's got a little market.
It's got a little tiny
Claudette's,
market, Claudette's sandwich shop.
and then a beach. I mean,
yeah. I mean, there's not a lot
and
to
lots
the town.
of nice homes.
I mean, really cute coastal homes.
Oh wow.
But one of the things they have there, one of the reasons we wanted to go out there is because they have a bluff walk. And this bluff walk is probably, a couple, what do you think? It's a mile, a little more than a mile?
Wasn't it a mile and a half?
Back on the road.
Yeah.
So
It's probably a mile and a half out, mile and a half back.
yeah,
So,
when we got back
3
to
miles.
our car last night, 25,000 steps is what my phone said that we did. That's
Yeah.
a lot of walking. So we take off down this bluff, the cliff walk. No, bluff walk. I keep saying cliff, but it's a bluff
It really
walk.
wasn't a cliff.
It's not a
It'd been
cliff.
cool though.
It's a bluff. The cool thing about it is you're walking through people's backyards. And
You
in
literally
some
are.
cases, you really, really are.
And we need to preface this by saying it's an actual trail. We weren't just breaking into people's backyard.
It was an actual trail that
Yes.
was about a foot wide.
Yes, it was
It was tight.
It was hard to get through. Yeah.
Yeah. And when, people were coming, you had to do your best because there
Yeah.
were kind of bushes or different places to pull over, but it was beautiful. And right now, lady was telling us that it's a little bit later, I guess, in the year for things to be blooming, but their hydrangeas, they are everywhere. And
Like hers in front of her house had just bloomed that week.
and they were.
And she was surprised.
They were the size of your head, like
They were basketball size.
I mean,
Yeah.
so beautiful. Mainly purples and rich blue, light blue. Oh, they're just beautiful. They're everywhere. They're
Yeah.
everywhere right now.
Well, what's so cool about the Bluff Walk is on your right, you've got the ocean and the beach and all that. And then on your left, you've got these amazing, homes.
Yeah, I mean, they're so
Yeah.
beautiful. And the on the right too, the ocean. We saw a sea lion yesterday.
Yep, we
Is it
did.
a sea lion or a seal?
Seal.
Dang it! I don't know my ocean animals. I need to study up
We need
on
to
that.
review that.
I need to study up on my sea life. Okay, but the houses were amazing. You walk by them and you're like, who affords to live here?
They're like magazine covers. That's the word I was trying
every
to
one
think
of
of.
them.
They
Every
really
one of
are.
them, yeah. And some of them have like lattice work up the sides of the house, and just have beautiful flowers, pink flower. I mean, it's just so stunningly pretty. So we took that walk because at the end of that walk, well, almost at the end of that walk, was a lighthouse, of course, and we were going to see, what was the name of that lighthouse?
Was it Skankity?
Oh yeah,
No, it was just
Sankity.
Sankity.
It's C.
We're from
It's-
Texas. It's hard to pronounce things.
It's Sankaty.
Yes, and it ended up being our favorite lighthouse. Like
Yeah.
it was the coolest.
I liked it a lot.
To me, it was the prettiest.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a long walk to get there, and there were no bathrooms when you got there.
Because very early in our walk, you mentioned that you might have to go to the bathroom.
Very early.
Yes, and we were hoping when we got perhaps to the lighthouse there might be porta potties or enough
Yes.
foliage for you to do what you need to do, but there was not.
There was not.
Yeah.
Scott, I think I need to start an app
Okay.
that
Restroom app?
basically just tells you where all the bathrooms are in the country.
Would it be bathrooms and porta potties?
I don't care. Yes, anything
Okay.
like that.
Yeah.
The porta potties in Massachusetts were not terrible. But like sometimes they're terrible, but they weren't terrible. But
Yeah.
it's just for stuff like, it's literally.
You're starting pretty low when you're in a porta potty anyway, so I don't know how high or low you can go.
Listen,
on that.
I was about to go in the bushes, so a porta potty would have probably been a step up. At least there's a door that locks.
Yeah, you were intense about having to go.
Yeah, I was.
Go. Yeah.
Yes. Anyways, we made it to the lighthouse. Was there something specific about that lighthouse?
Not really. It was just a cool area.
It was cool.
and-
Okay. I couldn't remember if
Yeah.
that one had like a specific thing to it. So then we left there and walked all the way back to town, not on the trail. We actually
We went back to the main road.
Back on the
We
main
ended
road,
up on the main road.
and there was a little trail, a little like walking path off to the side.
When we were
Paved.
hoping a bus might come by because they have these poles, wooden poles that have a blue and white. Is it blue and white?
Two blue stripes.
Yeah,
I think.
like two color blue stripes, and that's your bus station.
Right.
So we got to that bus station, but then you looked on your app, and it was going to be 45 minutes before a bus was coming
So
by.
it just was a little hit or miss, and we just kept.
So
walking.
we just kept walking, hoping maybe, because every now and then you'd see a pole for a bus, so you'd go, okay, then you look behind you, is there a bus coming?
No,
So
we just
keep
kept walking with our thumb out,
Yeah.
and
Nobody picked us up.
nobody picked us up. So
They're from Texas. We're not picking them up.
we made it back to town, and we didn't really want to eat a huge. We had dinner reservations.
Well, you forgot one thing about getting
What?
to town. You found a restroom.
Oh, as soon as
Yes.
literally as soon as we crested into town.
We were very
it's like
thankful for public restrooms.
bathroom. Yes, so
Yes.
happy. Most of these towns do have a public restroom, which is very nice. Because a lot of the places don't.
It's
like
so
to.
touristy though, so that I feel like they have to have one.
Yeah, probably. So for lunch, we decided to go in the market, and I mean, this market is like.
It's a cute little market.
Think of like the size of a gas station, but had stuff in there like Trader Joe's.
Well, it was upscale products. Yeah.
So, or Central Market or something like that. So they had a little tiny produce section, had some cold items like some different like dips. Like for example, I got a goat cheese, roasted tomato, and pesto like dip, and
You don't get this at 7-Eleven.
no.
Yeah.
And I got some crackers to go with it, and I got a bag of fresh cherries. And then you got what?
What did I get? I got just
some-
a water, which was a box of water.
Yes.
And I got, what did I get?
Granola. You got some.
I got yogurt and granola.
Yogurt
which
and
is,
granola.
It was some of the best. It was paleo granola.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah.
Again, kind of an upscale
Yeah,
market
it was really
there.
nice. So that's really what we had for lunch. We sat outside.
We sat on a bench.
We sat on a bench.
Next to the market.
Next to the market, and had just pulled out our. It was expensive. I mean, my
was.
box of crackers was $14.
Yeah.
My goat cheese stuff was $9.
It's funny that the goat cheese was cheaper than your crackers.
Yeah, I know. What was in these crackers?
I don't know.
It was pricey. So for all of what we just mentioned, I also had like a bottle of like green tea, and it was 50,
and I got my sticker that I always get.
Oh, you got a sticker. It was $50.
$4.
This whole thing was $50 for lunch.
It ended up being an expensive lunch, but we didn't mean it to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we still have some of the granola, and I think there's some cherries in your bag.
But as much eating as we've been doing, it was nice to like have a lighter lunch. So then we walked down to the beach for a minute.
Well, we were having a little bit of a crisis because...
We had a crisis?
Well, we did eventually have a crisis.
Yeah.
You're right. We did walk down to the beach for a second. Just to say we had been on Sconset Beach.
Yeah.
But though, you know what's interesting is there's no boats in the water, and I guess it's just choppy.
But at Sconset Beach didn't have any great white signs, so you're pretty happy about that.
There was no great white signs, but there was also really nobody in the water. But they really were advertising like that it was the riptides they were talking about, and just what do they call that? Like what were the
undertow?
signs? Yeah, but there was like high whatever, like aggressive waves and stuff. Yeah. I can't think of what the sign said, but anyways, we did not get in the water, but we did walk down to the beach. And then we were getting into a little bit of a crisis mode because we were running out of battery.
Oh, on our phones. Mine had already died by this point.
Yeah, and so I ran into we were waiting at the station to get on the wave to go back to the town of Nantucket. And
because we couldn't get a lift, they weren't happy.
They weren't coming out there. They weren't where we were.
Yeah.
So there's a post office. So the post office is right there, and I ran in the post office, and they had the little, what do you call those things?
Child protection.
Like the child plugs, and so I pulled the plug out and stuck it in my pocket. So I didn't want it to just be sitting there like, oh, I totally pulled this out of the wall. So I stuck it in my pocket and plugged my phone in. I was trying to even just get to like 4%.
Yeah.
Because that's where...
So we know where our map was.
And, I mean, it's just amazing how much you keep on your phone. You're like, we don't even know where we're going. But then the shuttle shows up. The bus shows up. So I unplug and run out the door, and I'm standing in line with Scott to get on the shuttle, and I said, I have a confession to make. And he said, what? And I said, I stole this out of the wall, and I pulled the plug out of my pocket once I realized I had it. Well, he saved the day by running the plug back, so we did not steal anything off the island of Nantucket, nor the post office of Sconset. So
the authorities have nothing on us.
That's right. We did not do it. Okay, so we made it back to the town of Nantucket. Again, transportation is just tricky because a lot of people rent bikes, but that entire town is made of cobblestone and brick roads that are very, like, you want to look up and look around, but you have to look down or you're going to trip and fall.
Well, and especially since we wanted to go to the other side of the island and we only had a day to do this, I don't think bikes would have worked for us. It would have taken way too long.
I think, honestly, I personally would have said scooters.
Yeah, we looked at scooters for a minute. It was really expensive.
They were $125 a scooter for the day.
Yeah.
$250. And we could have shared one, but honestly, I don't know if we'd have been happy that way.
That didn't sound fun.
No.
So that's why we didn't go the scooter route. I think to get to the other side of the island, I would get a scooter next time.
Yep. Totally factor that in if you're going to Nantucket.
Yep.
It's just tricky. So we got back to the town of Nantucket, and we actually didn't intend to go there. We wanted to go to this other museum called the Shipwreck and Lifesaving Museum, but it really is kind of a loner out there by itself. It's not really near anything, not even near restaurants. And because we couldn't get a lift and we couldn't... The wave that was coming for that, the public transportation, was not for even 30 more minutes.
Yeah.
We just got on the one and went back to Nantucket. The number one thing to do on TripAdvisor in Nantucket is the Whaling Museum. And that's what we decided to do. Originally, when I asked Scott, do you want to do the Whaling Museum or do you want to do the Life-Saving and Shipwreck Museum? He said the Shipwreck Museum, but we couldn't
Whaling
get there.
sounded boring to me.
But you ended up loving it.
I ended up loving it.
So what did you love about it?
Well, the main thing I loved about it is it talks about the whaling industry and all that, but really what I'm always fascinated by is why does a community grow? Why did someone decide to settle here? Why did this community grow and this one didn't? Mm-hmm. Really about urban development and how cities and towns, just come into being
Yeah.
and why some of them go away.
Yeah.
And it was just fascinating that the whaling is really, for like 150 years, that's what Nantucket was all about. Mm-hmm. Like Herman Melville visited there, and that was part of what inspired him to write Moby Dick. It's just that whole industry and vibe. So it wasn't until like 1869, late 1860s, that the whaling industry went away, because you didn't need the oils and stuff to make candles and all that, because they were finding cheaper ways to make all that. Mm-hmm. And to, powerhouses and all that, it was all being done more efficiently and cheaper.
Yeah.
So the whaling industry kind of went away. And I didn't know that, like, Nantucket went away. Like, people deserted Nantucket for a while and then started coming back after that. And that's when it became more of a touristy, artistic area where people came to summer vacation and all that. That's when it became kind of what it is now, like a summer vacation spot, really.
Well, when did the Quakers show up there?
Oh gosh, that was like in the 1600s, 1700s.
Oh,
the Quakers were there.
That's before all the whaling stuff.
Well, no, that's when the whaling started.
Oh, okay.
For 150 years, they did all the whaling stuff.
Yeah, it was interesting. They had a lot of firsts, like a lot of female firsts, like the first reverend,
Yeah.
the first person to perform the first woman to perform a wedding ceremony,
Yeah.
which happened to be her daughter that she married. I don't know if you saw that.
I didn't see that part.
Yeah, and so I can read signs too.
Well, they also
Just
tied
kidding,
in,
it was a video.
they also tied in the abolition of slavery and women's rights.
And suffrage, yeah. Mhm.
I didn't realize Frederick Douglass had been out there a lot, and he had done a lot of speeches and had a lot of meetings there in Nantucket.
Yeah.
So
It was
it
pretty
was cool.
Yeah,
I
really
was
cool.
totally shocked. And then you go up 3 floors and you're on the top of the building.
Yeah.
So you could see all of Nantucket from the Whaling Museum. Uh-huh. And that was
And
super cool too.
You also loved that there was a lot of art there.
Oh, there was tons of art, like local artists, and it was cool
Yeah.
to see all those paintings. I took a ton of pictures of different paintings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we left there and took another walk to Jethro Coffin's house. Who's Jethro Coffin?
Well, I know it's the oldest house in Nantucket.
Oh, you don't know who he is, yeah. But
He's
his
a dude
name,
that owned a house.
His name was passed down through all these other people, but
Yeah.
basically, yes, it was the oldest house and garden in Nantucket, and so you could go walk by his house. That took us a little bit of
From 1676, right?
1668.
68. Oh, it's even earlier than that. It's even older than that.
That's even older than that, and don't ask me why I remember a date.
Well, and what's cool about that house is it's in its original location. Like, they haven't moved it.
Unlike every lighthouse
Every
we
lighthouse,
saw.
I think, from the coast deteriorating and stuff, they've moved most of the lighthouses.
But this is the same.
Or all
house.
of the lighthouses we were at.
Yeah.
But this was in the same exact location that
So
his
crazy.
house had already been.
Yeah, that
Pretty
was really-
fascinating.
yeah, super fascinating.
And a long walk.
Very long walk. So then we walked back into the town of Nantucket, just because that was just a little further out, and we headed to the Brant Point Lighthouse,
Oh, yeah.
which was really cool. Went
A
past
little tiny one.
little Coast Guard station, and this was a little tiny lighthouse, but there were guys fishing around there, and it was really the prettiest one, overlooking like the harbor.
Yeah, you could see everything there.
Yeah.
It was a great...
Boats coming
Yeah.
in and out, and it was really pretty. So we sat there on the rocks for a few minutes, and but then decided, hey, we needed to walk somewhere else.
Well, and you were losing what little charge you had on your phone.
Yeah.
So we're like, we better go while we still
Your
have a
phone
map.
had been dead for a long
Oh,
time.
yeah. Mine didn't last very long.
So we had, what happened? We had I had probably 10% or something at this point. Oh, when we went to the Whaling Museum, I just asked the woman behind the counter
Oh,
if I
yeah.
could plug the phone in.
She's like,
and
sure.
so it was like, I had 40% at this point when we left there, but also navigating to Coffin's house and back out to the lighthouse. So now we're heading back into town. And we're just going to shop a little bit. We had gone into a shop earlier that we wanted to go back to and got a hat and a sweatshirt and stuff like that before dinner. And we went into a shop that you found the t-shirt you're actually wearing right now that was so cute. It was called Annie and the Tees, Tees.
It was hands down the best t-shirt sweatshop.
Oh my gosh. Edit that out.
I don't think there's a sweatshirt shop that in Nantucket to me. Like,
Yeah.
it had It's the 47 brand, which has the nice soft shirts. And the designs, they had designs all over the wall. Like, they had everything where you couldn't get to it, which is smart because then they don't have to keep refolding things all the time. That's what I thought of.
Yeah.
They had glass cabinets up where you could see the shirts you wanted, but you couldn't get to them. You had to ask.
Yeah.
And then on the walls, they had square cutouts that you could see every design. So you could go, I want that yellow and blue one in a large, and then they would go back to the back and find it.
Yeah.
But it was designs that you would want. Like, you go to a lot of these.
They're super cute.
You go to a lot of souvenir shops, and it's like, I don't like it. I'm going to buy one of these because I want to prove I was here, but I don't like any of these designs. But I could have bought
you tried on a couple shirts in another place, and you did not like the way they feel. You're kind of particular about the way shirts feel.
But I didn't particularly like the designs. I was just like, I've got to get a shirt from Nantucket. But I didn't really like the way they looked. So
well, and you also feel like you have a lot of gray and black in your closet. So
I was trying to find something colorful.
Yeah, not navy, not gray, not black.
Right.
And you were successful. It's very cute.
I've got a light blue with yellow text.
Yeah.
Gold
adorable.
text.
I like it. So we did some shopping before dinner, and then we ended up eating at this place called the Quick Web. Is that how you pronounce it?
I have no idea.
Anyways, we don't really know how you pronounce it, but we had a crab cake, and I had some halibut, and when you had some bibimbap.
Bibimbap. It was just fun to say, so I'm like, I want some bibimbap.
Bibimbap, if you don't know what that is, look it up. How do you spell it? B-I-P.
B-I-B. B-I-M. B-I-M. B-I-M-P, something like that.
Bibimbap.
Well, it's like it's your rice and your chicken and everything kind of thrown together. Yeah.
And some pickled, like, slaw type of stuff, yeah.
It was really good.
So, yeah, and an egg. It's got a little, like, Asian flair.
Yeah. This was kind of an Asian fusion restaurant kind of thing.
I had halibut over green pea risotto. It was really good.
Sounds very fancy.
Yeah. So we're just strolling because we're leaving there. We've got time. Our ferry leaves at 8:45, and we decided to get in this line for some ice cream, some homemade ice cream everywhere. There's homemade ice cream everywhere. The lines are
we had been passing this place all day, and the lines were super long.
Yeah, it's on a corner, and we just decided, oh, look, we'll just hop in this line, and they said, oh, actually the line is catty corner across the traffic.
Yeah. They had like two workers on either side of the street.
Yes, and there was a whole other line on the other side. So we went and got in that line, and I asked her, we have an 8:45 ferry. Are we going to be okay? And she's like,
I don't know.
You might be pushing it, and we didn't have anything else to do, so we just got in the line.
Well, it was called the Juice Bar, which is funny for an ice cream place.
Because it's an ice cream. But they did have like 4 different fresh squeezed juices, but they had bajillions of ice cream.
Oh, yeah, and like flavors you've never heard of.
Right, and all the toppings, waffle bowls, like they're making the waffle bowls and the cones and stuff like that. So
I love a warm waffle cone.
We get our ice cream. We're strolling to the ferry. The lines look weird, and we're like, what's going on? We go through this one little area, and then we just come out the other side.
We notice people are panicked.
People start to panic.
We're hearing rumors of war.
Yes, grabbing their women and children and running different directions. Basically, the ferry, remember, run by the state, is not running because there's lightning in the area or storms in the area or something.
So they had shut everything down.
They had shut the last ferry we were supposed to be on off the island down.
And then you looked up an Airbnb, and it was, what, $700?
There's one Airbnb left available on the island, $735. And
that's not in our budget.
No, I said we'll be sleeping on this bench right here in the Port Authority.
Yeah.
I said, I hope you're comfortable. So, but also people were saying, go get on the Highline cruise, which is...
Well, it was the only option to get off the island.
Yeah, it was the last one off. It was a little more expensive. It's a little more of a frou-frou, like privately owned, whatever.
Yeah, lots of drinking going on.
Everybody's running over to that it's two what do you call this, piers over.
Well, first you're getting your refund in the Steamship Authority,
right?
Which we got a refund while I was getting the refund. I
was on my phone with 1%.
With 1%, you're like typing as fast as you can.
I know, and trying to like type in all the information to get 2 tickets
to the
920. Yeah. I have 1%. I just knew I was going to hit process and it was going to go.
You were like breathing heavy.
Yeah. So I felt like it was a marathon, and everybody else was like racing over to that ticket booth to buy, and I'm like, I'm gonna sit here and buy right here on this phone, even though there was plenty of tickets. People were walking in after us buying tickets. seconds.
It ended up being okay.
Ended up being totally fine, but we were a little panicked. Like, oh my gosh, we're not going to get off this island.
There's a moment where we're going to be sleeping on the
first
street.
panic is, I want on that boat. The second panic is, if the state shut down the other boat, do I want on this boat?
Why is this boat running?
We're going to go with this private company who clearly does not care about your safety.
But the whole boat ride, it was a little rocky, but we were sitting up top, like up under a little awning, and it was open behind us. I never felt any rain.
It never rained or anything.
Rain.
It was pretty rough. Like, that makes me a little sick. But we
it was
survived.
choppy.
Yes. So once we hit the ground, we had a little bit of a walk because, see, now we've come in port where we didn't leave port.
Yeah.
And our car was guess what? Another walk, 16 minutes away from where we actually docked. A lot of people had the same issue, and we finally made it to our car. Hopped in, didn't really even get rained on, but we had about a little more than an hour and 20 minute or so drive. We were staying in Providence, Rhode Island, where our next Airbnb, staying in a private room experience was. This was not a good one.
This is more of a prison cell. Airbnb prison cell.
Now, the room was fine, and actually,
it was very stark. The bed was comfortable.
I like a very, very soft
bed. But you just had the bed, and really not a little table, and that was it in the room.
Yeah, and the bed was the most comfortable bed we'd had of all of them. There were no pictures.
But we were one of like 6 rooms, so it had numbers on the room. It felt, I don't know.
There were no pictures.
Right, that's what made it feel like a prison.
What? No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, I thought you were talking about there's no pictures on the walls.
No.
Like the walls are empty. That's one thing that bugged me. But
No.
Yeah.
There were no pictures on the Airbnb of the bathroom.
And for good reason.
For good reason. Because it was super sketch.
And it smelled really bad. It smelled like a porta potty.
Not good. Like, to the point where Scott was like, I was going to shower, but I'm not getting in that shower.
I love a good shower, especially if you're traveling in the car. And I was like, I can't do this.
No.
It was
no showers.
It was gross.
So we
And
decided,
I may be gross now, but I didn't get that gross shower.
Did you brush your teeth?
We'll talk about that later. I didn't want to do much in there. I didn't even fix my hair in there, like wet my hair.
You should put a hat on.
I just never went back in there.
And we got in at 12:30 at night, and we were up at like 6, and Scott was like, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So, and I agreed. I mean, I was ready to hit the road. We've been on the road. We had to stop at Dunkin' Donuts because there's one
everywhere.
At every exit. And guess what? Chick-fil-A, one of them doesn't open till 9 a.m. here.
Which makes no sense.
That's so
Why
weird.
even open?
Why? You've totally missed so much.
Right.
So we are on the road now back to New York City. We actually are going to Newark eventually, but in just a little bit.
We're going to surprise someone.
We're going to surprise my cousin, Christina, who
owns a
little pub in Brooklyn called Teddy's. Shout out Teddy's Burn Grill. Really the best, like, burgers. Like, they have really, really good food. And so we are hoping that she's working today. Thankfully, at one point she shared her location with me, which I still have. So I'm going to find out where she is and track her down.
Well, to really give you the location, it's in Williamsburg, which is
Williamsburg,
within Brooklyn. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're going to stop by there today. So, and then we will be wrapping up our Cape Cod trip with a flight home.
Eventually, hopefully.
Hopefully.
There's a little bit of weather coming in this afternoon, so hopefully
our flights are not delayed. But overall, you had said that you thought this was one of your favorite trips. Did you say that?
It really was one of my favorite trips.
And you know what? As we get older, I'm a very scheduled person, but we didn't like hardcore schedule a lot.
Right.
And I think that worked in our favor.
Well, we kind of had an outline. We said we're going to do this day, but like driving the old Kings Highway.
Yeah.
We knew that was our plan, but within that, we're just going to stop at whatever looks cool.
Right.
Like a bookstore, windmills.
And one of the things we talked about was, like, if you were traveling with kids,
you couldn't do all this.
I would be saying, our kids would be saying, what's the next activity thing we're stopping at doing? They wouldn't be content just to be driving through these pretty houses. They would be like, this is what we're doing.
They may have liked the windmills, but just to get out of the car.
Yeah.
Or stop at a bookstore and look at books.
It's just different. Yeah, it's just different when you're traveling with kids of all ages. So for us, we were like, hey, want to stop and look at these books, or want to stop and look at this, park?
Yeah.
It was great. Like, we could just kind of hop in and out of places we wanted to see. So So, I don't know. I thought it was very delightful. And I'm so glad. It was like bucket list for me to even get to go to like Nantucket and Cape Cod. Martha's Vineyard will be another day. We looked at that. But there's like 5 different like villages, kind of little small towns on Martha's Vineyard. So it seemed like you really probably need a couple of days out there. But anyways, we had a fantastic time. I hope that you have been fully informed of all things Cape Cod and Nantucket. If you have not already, like and subscribe to our podcast and share it, especially if you know anybody that likes to travel. And then also, you have to go watch our Hey Babe Where You At from Nantucket, Cape Cod. I promise it will not disappoint. Right?
I think it's pretty fun.
It's going to be hilarious. All right. Party 5.5. Over and out.
We'll see you next time.